Hello there, Year 10. So this is the continuation of our assembly from yesterday, the last little few details that I didn't have a chance to fit in those 15 minutes. Okay, so as I mentioned, to begin with, each exam is going to be 60 minutes long or just under. You just follow your normal timetable. Okay, all that your mock exam timetable shows is when on your normal timetable a test will be taking place. So there's kind of 2 in a day, sometimes one day I think there's 3. And so on. You just go to your normal lesson when you are not in a test. Okay, that's all you do. If you've got PE, core PE, bring your PE kit in because you'll be doing PE. Okay, we need to get you doing things that are active as well as just focusing on revision. You'll be able to do revision in between your exams on other subjects, etc. We kind of, for mock exams, we suspend the normal timetable for the week whilst that's going on. If you get access arrangements in terms of extra time, again, follow your normal timetable, go to your normal classroom, your teacher will give you the paper, and then you take that to the Archbishop Suite and our exams team will look after you there to provide you with your extra time or your laptop or whatever you have, and you'll have the same table for each, same desk for each of your exams. Okay, so there is one timetable for Abbey and Wentworth, one timetable for Kings and Stewart. So as I mentioned yesterday, starting the revision is the key thing. Just a little bit to begin will really help. I overheard a couple of lads yesterday afternoon saying, not going to revise, what's the point? Well, unfortunately, doing that will end up you being sat in an exam room doing something and failing at something, and we don't want that to happen. We don't want to set up a system whereby we were in a perpetual circle of failure. You're going to have to break that circle at some point. You can't leave it to the end. What happens if we have to use these mocks in terms of data for teacher assessed grades? Have you thought about that, lads? Potentially. What about if exams get cancelled again next year or the year after or whatever? You never know what's going to happen in life, so you have to try and do your best to revise and do your best at these exams. I can't lay it any clearer than that. And it kind of really knocked me off when I heard that. And people were intentionally going to set themselves up for failure by not even bothering to revise. And I think that is inexcusable. What is allowable is those people who try and things won't stick in their head yet. That's entirely fine. Just giving something a go and trying, we are more than happy to pick you up if you miss and fail or it doesn't quite work. Really happy for that to happen because it's all part of this forgetting. Forgetting is normal. When you first learn a new skill, what happens is you forget loads of it to begin with immediately. It's like learning to drive. When you first learn to drive, first time you get into a car, all over the place, you learn a little bit. Next time you go back to it, you've forgotten it all. So you have to do it again and again and again. It's something you have to almost do a daily basis when you're learning to drive so that curve flattens out and you start to forget less. Okay? You start to forget more slowly and it starts to stick in your head. I made the analogy yesterday of sieves in your head. Imagine you pouring all this information into your brain, into a sieve, it all drops out. But if you were to layer up those sieves, put sieve on top of sieve, it would then start adding in the layers that will then allow you to keep hold of that information. And all it is 10, 15 minutes a night to begin with. That's it. Then it's maybe half an hour. Then next week, at the start of next week, it's maybe an hour a day before Christmas kicks in. Have some time off for Christmas, New Year comes, and then start revising again. Okay? So I mentioned the power of habits, how they are really, really important for succeeding. So you just get yourself into the habit of training and training your brain. Okay? It's the same with revision. So the plan I want you to follow is to make it obvious. Okay? What you do is that you make sure that in one area of your house you have your revision all laid out on your desk. Don't move it. Keep it there. Today or tomorrow you'll get a revision plan. Okay, write down when you want to learn stuff and practice stuff. It's amazing what happens when things are written out because you've got to commit yourself to it. Okay, make it attractive. Some people prefer to revise with friends. Some people prefer to do online stuff. Some people prefer to try and tap their parents up for money. Whatever it takes. Try and make it easy. Start small, little bits. Phone away. Help from friends or family to quiz you. Get a revision timetable. We've provided you with one and tick it off. makes it small and easy. Start off with the easy stuff. Start with easy tests. Start with vocab tests in French. Start with 1 markers, 2 markers in English and maths and PE and geography, and then increase as you go on. Okay? You get this planning sheet either today or tomorrow. At the bottom, write down your other option subjects and write in when you want to revise. I've scheduled 2 bits of revision per day. So what you might want to do is start off really small and do 15 minutes of, say, English, 15 minutes of maths. Day after, do 15 minutes of biology, 15 minutes of chemistry. Day after, you might want to increase that to 20, 25, and so on, up to you get to about 30 minutes. Some people might even prefer to go up to 45 minutes of revision because they like to get into something. Maybe do that during the holidays, whereby you kind of start your revision at, say, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, say 10 o'clock, and you do 45 minutes of revision, have 15 minutes off, then start your next 45 minutes at 11, and then you're done by 11:45. You could do that at 11. Start at 11, 45 minutes of revision, 15 minutes off, start your next batch at 12, finish at 12:45, your revision's done for the day. It's nice and small and broken down. So that's the why. Here's the how to revise, okay? The biggest mistake that people make is that you can get yourself what's called an illusion of competence. This is something that psychology students have looked at and will know lots about, where you think you know stuff by writing it down and by writing out notes again, okay? By thinking, oh, I've got all these lovely notes, that's going to really help me. It doesn't. You can write them down, but you've got to make sure you do something called retrieval practice. Okay, retrieval practice is strategy number 1, whereby you don't just reread it. What you do is you pick out the key points and put it down maybe on a flashcard. On the flip side of that, you write a question down or what you want to kind of draw out your brain on the other side. So, for example, in biology, you might want to write down what osmosis is, the definition on one side of a flashcard. On the other side of the flashcard, you have the question, what is osmosis? These are the type of questions that come up in exam papers, so that when you kind of revising, you pick up a question, look at it, what is osmosis? And then you read out the answer, turn across, have a look. Oh, I got that right. Put it in the done pile, whereby you're happy with that. Pick up the next one. What is the formula for motion? Oh, I can't remember it. Look at it. I knew it. Put that in the not quite understood column so that you can go back to it later. That's what retrieval practice is. All that is a posh word for doing practice, doing past paper questions. If you do French or German, we've got these purple workbooks. I haven't got one to hand, but we do these purple workbooks whereby you can do the practice questions that come up. Have a look through that purple workbook and pick out all the topics that are going to come up in French. Things like marriage, things like relationships, things like sports, things like mobile phones and technology, things like town. And then do those questions in your purple workbook. That's retrieval practice, where you're practicing live. Okay? So as I mentioned, you can still use the revision cards, but make them quizzy. Space practice. All this is following the plan that I've given you, that sheet of paper that's got a revision plan on it that spaces things out. So you're not trying to do everything the night before your first exam on the first day back, because it won't stick in your head. All you're doing is putting one sieve into your head on that Sunday and trying to stick as much stuff into it as possible. You're loading it with kind of 5 hours of revision. But what happens is overnight, the sieve, because there's only one sieve in there, all that information starts to drop out and you forget it. Putting lots of different sieves in your head, metaphorically, as you pour in that information, will allow it to stay in there for longer. Okay, it's called working its way into your long-term memory, so that when you come to do the GCSEs, you'll remember it from these mocks. It stays in that long. Okay, that's what space practice is. So you just build in relaxation time, you build in downtime, but you do little bits, not massive stuff. Okay, next bit and final bit is interleaving. That is an example you see in front of me that is a bad strategy, whereby you're revising English, for example, Macbeth, and you revise the same topic on the same day. Instead, what you should do is try and interleave it. What that means is mixing up your revision. So you might do a bit of Macbeth, Inspector Calls, go back to something else. That's why I've encouraged you on the bottom of your revision plan to write out your subjects. So you might do English, then maths, then biology, then chemistry, and start to mix them up and mix and match. Okay? And that was our prayer for the end. Okay? So hopefully that gives you a sense of some of the things that I was trying to get through right at the very end, the key kind of techniques to learn that are really useful for these sets of mocks. Okay? Thank you very much.